As it seems in college football throughout the country, when you get ready to play a game, it doesn't matter who you're playing. Every team is good enough to beat any other team, and I think that's the case here. For those that don't know much about Hawaii, they're the most physical and very talented defensive team that we've played all year. Their front seven is big and strong, and they're very aggressive. They play the run extremely well. They rush the passer pretty well. They've got some guys in the secondary that are good athletes, but they play good pass defense mostly because of the pass rush up front. The front seven's as good as anybody we've played against. I compare them to Oregon State. On offense, they have kind of changed a little bit throughout the year what they're doing. They are a spread team of sorts, but they do get back into pro sets and run power plays and the kind of running plays that we run all the time. And I'm sure that's to shorten the game and give their defense a chance to establish field position for them and win the football game. They are a very physical, very talented football team that could beat anybody in our league at any time.
Rocky, they've been a little bit unsettled at quarterback. What do you see out of Woolsey? Because they've yanked him from some games, but he's obviously had some success too.
Yeah, he started several games, and he's been pulled from a couple. And last week he didn't start. And the young guy that took over for him, I think, broke his foot. And he came back in the second half and played as well as he's played all year. I mean, in fact, that's the best he's played all year. And they gained a bunch of points in the second half, and he threw for quite a few yards in the second half. And he's a talented guy. He runs around good, can make you miss, moves around in the pocket. He's hard to sack. He throws the ball with velocity, and he's got a really strong arm. He's missed some open receivers. But there's no I mean, it's obvious why the reason for him starting is he's the best athlete of the quarterbacks.
How did you guys block 9 guys in the box the other night against New Mexico? Or did you have to block that many in the box this week?
Well, they put a lot of guys up there close, but our offensive line did a great job of blocking them and giving seams to our running backs, and our running backs are pretty good. And they got seams so they would be one-on-one with the safeties. And sometimes they were one-on-one with the corners. And those corners and safeties were 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, and they'd make them miss or run through them. And when they made a miss, when you put that many people close to the line of scrimmage, if you make the guy that's supposed to make the tackle miss, there's no one else back there.
Coach, you guys struggled a little bit with Joey Iosefa last year. If he plays this week, I mean, have you watched, I'm assuming, last year's game? How can you hope to combat him?
We struggled with Joey Iosefa last year because he ran over us, not because we didn't have people in position to tackle him. So I can watch that film as much as I want to watch that film, and that problem doesn't change. So if he plays in the game, we'll have the same difficulty knocking him down because I don't know how big he is. He's huge. He's 260 pounds and strong, big, strong, and he can run. It wasn't that we didn't have people to tackle him. There's a lot of our guys last year that could not tackle him. And I would guess that would be the same issue this year.
How's Quinn?
He was sore after the game. He didn't throw. We had a very short practice on Sunday. He didn't throw in Sunday's practice. He's going to throw today, but they're going to limit the number of reps that he throws. But, I mean, by the time we got to Friday night's game last week, he threw as well as he can throw in pregame warmups. So we think he's going to start.
Were you a little surprised at how quickly he progressed through the week?
A little bit, because early in the week we were told he wasn't going to be able to play. And by the time we got to Wednesday's practice, he was throwing the ball really well. And Thursday he got better, and then in pregame warmup he looked like his normal self. Now, we didn't want to play him, but we knew he could play if we had to. So, and we expect him to be able to play this week.
Did Nick make progress in the game, do you think?
I thought he started the game out better than he did the week before. But then I saw him kind of fade a little bit. And it was obvious to us that we needed to do something to give the offense some kind of spark.
When you say he faded, what was physically happening or mentally happening?
I thought he couldn't find an open receiver. You know, early in the game, he threw a couple strikes. One of them was dropped. One hit a guy right in the chest and was dropped. Then he made a nice throw on a route against man coverage to Eric Judge right down the middle, and Eric made a nice catch and a big gain out of it. Yeah. And then we went back to pass a few other times, and there were some open receivers. Now he has to go through his progression to get to the open receiver, but he never quite got there. And he got sacked or he had to scramble with the ball.
And I assume that you guys haven't necessarily lost long-term confidence in him. It's a matter of understanding that he's been put in a tough situation.
No, we don't lose confidence in any freshman. I mean, we've got a couple of defensive linemen out there that are playing pretty darn good right now as juniors and seniors that they were horrible players as freshmen. So even though the quarterback gets more, I mean, and it is the most important position on a football team, the quarterback gets scrutinized more and people see him easier than they see linemen. Sure. Just because you're struggling as a freshman does not mean you're not going to be a really, really good player later on down the road.
Is DJ starting to get good enough to where you can compare him to some of the guys you've had in the past, either at New Mexico or here? And I know Chase had a good game too, and I don't want to leave him out, but 200 and some odd yards, a 90-yard touchdown run. It reminded me a lot of Ronnie Hillman.
Well, let's compare him to Ronnie. Okay. I think in my opinion, this is just my opinion, him and Ronnie are very similar. They can make a guy miss in a small area, and once they get in the open, they're both really fast. There's only a few guys who will play that can actually run him down and catch him. I think DJ runs tougher between the tackles.
Seems to be stronger than Ronnie was, even though he's light.
I think they have similar abilities. They have different running styles. Ronnie is a guy, when he was here, I haven't watched him play for the Broncos, but when he was here, Ronnie was a guy that would get up in a hole and could be going full speed and stop and jump sideways. DJ makes guys miss as he's going forward. So the styles are not the same. The ability is very similar, but the styles of running are not the same.
Do you feel like Chase took another step, confidence-wise, in this last game?
I think Chase got his confidence 2 or 3 games ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Stamps, has it just been a matter, Rocky, of you like this rotation and you're comfortable with it? And, I mean, is there anything holding Stamps back at this point? Because obviously he had the injury early on.
No, the injury prevented him from playing.
Sure.
And since that time, I don't think there's enough carries for 3 running backs. So if 2 of them are playing really well, the third one doesn't get a chance. And I don't want to talk bad about Marcus, but I hope he doesn't get a chance. Because that's the other 2 will keep performing well, and no one will get hurt. So it's nice to have, in my opinion, 3 really good running backs. It's probably not nice to be Marcus right now because he doesn't get a chance, but there's not enough handoffs for 3 of them to play.
Coach, did you say anything to Cam Kelly after that penalty? It seems like you guys have had a spate of personal fouls and things like that.
We talk to every kid that gets a personal foul penalty.
I mean, is that something that you guys, is it the way they're playing? Like, are they being too aggressive? What do you think it is? Or is there no such thing as too aggressive?
I don't think his penalty was he was too aggressive. Him and another guy got into it after a play. If you watch it on film, he got shoved down and pushed by a guy. He got up and tried to pull a guy off a pile. They started pushing and shoving each other, and the official always gets the second guy or the last guy. I mean, if the official, I'm sure if the official had seen the film, he'd have called it on both of them, and it would have been offsetting. But what he saw was the last thing happen.
DJ
And football is an emotional game, and people get upset at each other at times.
DJ bowing to his own player after a touchdown.
Yeah, we sent that one into the conference office. The reply I got was not that it was the wrong call. The reply was, if he had bowed to the opposing team or bowed to the stands, it was what was the call?
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. But if he bowed to his own teammates, he's celebrating with his teammates, and it's not unsportsmanlike conduct. It didn't say the call was wrong. That was the explanation of the rule. I saw the film, and it looked like he bowed to a teammate to me.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying what I think I saw.
What the job that Schmidt's doing with your offensive line? I mean, just a former player here who seems to be growing into his role as a coach. Just watching him coach the other night since I was down on the sidelines. I mean, it just seems like that group really is together right now and relaxed and confident in what it's doing.
I hope you're right. I mean, I said from day one that we had a big, strong, physical, athletic offensive line, and that they should be able to block anybody that we play against. And I was disappointed early in the season because I didn't think they were performing to their athletic ability and their size and strength. I think the last 2 weeks they have performed at that level, to the size that they are, the strength they are, and the athletic ability that they have. They have been better than the defensive lines that they've been playing against. And I think Coach Schmidt's been doing a great job of coaching them. Obviously, you don't perform at that level unless someone's coaching you and helping you get to that level. Now, on that point, guess what? They're not blocking a defensive line that they're better than this week. It's the best it's the best front seven in our league that we play, because I don't watch the ones that we don't play. It's the best defensive front seven that we play against in our league.
Rocky, on the topic of playing aggressive and things being handed down from the conference office, a player from Colorado State was suspended for half a game for a hit leading with the helmet. I haven't seen the hit, but wondering if you've seen it, and if you have, or if you haven't, is it too steep a punishment to suspend a guy for half a game for leading with the crown of the helmet? Your thoughts about that?
I have not seen it, so I can't give an opinion on whether it was or not. That is the rule now. I mean, if it's considered targeting by the official, they can flag them and kick them out of the game. It is then reviewed by the league office. If the league office is in agreement with the call, the kid is suspended. Okay, and that's the way the rule is written, and I'm all for rules that are going to be to protect players. So you have to learn to live with that rule. I think some of those helmet-to-helmet or targeting penalties are accidental. I don't think they're on purpose. And we have the connotation in our minds that it's only called when it's on purpose. It can be called when it's not on purpose. The guy aims to one spot to hit a guy and he ends up hitting him too high, or the guy actually ducks and it ends up helmet to helmet. So there's a lot of guys out there that are not personally targeting people because they want to. It just happens.
Coach, he's out rough, and what's his status? Are you guys going to try and ease him back in by this week?
No, he'll be eased in. I mean, he's going to do some football things this week, but he'll be eased in with team activities next week.
And then Feely and Largent.
Largent's going to practice a little bit today. Feely is the same as Ezel. He'll do football-related stuff today, but not really with team-oriented stuff, and he'll be eased back in next week.
So would Largent play this week?
I don't know. We'll have to see how he looks.
Is Feely a possibility for Nevada?
Feely is a possibility for Nevada.
Is there a player?
And so is Ruffin.
Is there a player in the front seven of your defense that has surprised you with how well they've played this year, or how many big plays perhaps they've made? Maybe a guy you weren't expecting to get a lot from this year?
I don't really think so. I mean, I get criticized sometimes because I never say enough positive things. So I'm going to say something positive. That's the most physical the defensive line has been since I've been coaching here, was Saturday night. And it wasn't one or two guys. It was all 8 of them that played. The only way you slow a triple option team down is 4 guys control the dive, and the rest of them can run to the quarterback and the pitch. If all those guys are busy worrying about the guy that gets the ball on the dive or the inside running play, all of a sudden the quarterback runs for 300 yards or the pitch guy runs for 300 yards. Our 4 defensive linemen, we played 4 D linemen in this game, our 4 defensive linemen controlled the dive, allowed us to play really good run defense. And it was because they were so physical up front. Now, I hope that's a trend, not an exception.